is the popular one, sin of x, that you do need to know it for AP exam, and they don't give you. I don't believe they give it to you. I could be wrong because I only see a few tests. But this is dot 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 to the 2n plus 1. We have developed this before. And cosine of x is actually 1 minus x squared over 2 plus x to the 4 over 4 factorial minus x to the 6 over 6 factorial and dot 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 to negative 1 to the n of x to the 2n over 2n factorial. Give me a second. So those are the three standard ones that you're gonna be encounter that you have to know AP exam. Now, far as 1 over 1 minus x, right? So that's just gonna be equal to 1 minus 1 plus x squared plus x3 dot 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 to negative 1 to the n times x to the n. Oh no, sorry, this one is just x to the n. This is using geometric, right? Okay, so questions from here.
We could solve all of these if need be, correct?
Yeah, and all those can be using Taylor series. Now, today we're going to talk about how do we transform the power series. It's very, very easy. You can transform. So, for example, instead of finding cosine of x, you can find cosine of x squared.
Oh, no, thank you.
No, it's actually super easy. Just take the cosine of x, and everywhere you have x, you plug in x squared.
Oh, okay. But the theme like power
board.
Yeah, it's something like that. We're gonna deal with something like that in a second. But just let me write all the basic things down. Yes, Gabby.
I'm being summoned to the SGA room because apparently there's an emergency with the show. So would you mind if I went there and reflect?
If you have to go, you have to go.
Do you mind?
No. Something obvious is really important. You have to be there.
Yes.
It's called a yeah pass.
Yeah, just take it.
All the teachers know. They're like, is this from yeah?
When they like go class you and I got calculus, they're like, who needs you? I'm like, seriously? Like you could have waited till now.
You wrote me a pass to guidance, and they're like, "Is this from?" I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like,
Oh, just lazy.
You already know.
"Your passes are possible."
Okay, so is this okay? E to the x, sine of x, cosine of x, right? And we just talked about natural log of x. Well, natural log of x, according to Taylor series, that center have 1, you are gonna get x minus 1 and the minus x minus 1 squared over 2 plus x minus 1 over 3 and the minus x minus 1 to the 4th over 4 dot 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 into negative 1 to the m minus 1 times x minus 1 to the m minus n, sorry, n here. So basically all those things can be represented. So all those graph of sine of x, cosine of x, 1 over 1 minus x, natural log of x can be typed the way it is. And it's gonna give you a similar graph than what you have.
Could you show the I'm curious about the 1 over 1 minus x1.
Remember that
geometric. Easiest for you to just plug into a definite.
Remember that geometric series is like this. A1 over 1 minus r. But in this case, you see that 1. You see that we are in this format, right? Now that means common ratio is x.
Well, this would be only on the positive side, right? Could you just plug it in? I'm curious to see what's going on.
Yeah, but give me a second. So is this on the positive side? Let me answer that first. negative 1 to 1.
They're starting at 0 or 1? Are all of these starting at 0 or at 1?
This one is the center at 1. This
What
one is center
about
at 1.
sine and cosine? Are they starting at 0 or
They
1?
start at 0, yes. And oh, by the way, let me give you the interval convergence. If you do interval convergence of each one, it's going to be negative infinity to infinity, negative infinity to infinity,
Convergence.
interval convergence,
Is that
negative
1 minus
infinity
x?
to
Is that
infinity,
1 over 1. The blue is 1 over 1. The red is part of the series.
Oh,
and natural log of x is between 0 to 2. And this one is from negative 1 to 1. Hold on, this one is including 2. I just want to make sure I give you correctly. So those are the basic standard one that you need to know. Now, there's also, let me see. 1 over x doesn't commonly use a lot, so it's 1 minus x minus 1 plus x minus 1 squared, dot, 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 dot. They change the sign, by the way, so I'm going to say minus x minus 1 to the third, dot, 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 to negative 1 to the n of x minus 1 to the n. And that is going to be 0 less than x less than 2 as well.
Less than or less than or equal to?
Less than,
Less than 2, but equal to 0.
yeah,
Yeah.
less, no, x, 0 less than x less than 2. So it's between 0 to 2.
It's equal to or greater than? Or it's greater than equal to?
Which one?
No, just.
Just they are both less than.
Or
Let me
this.
see, natural log of x. I want to make sure. Hold on. Natural log of x, I copied wrong. 0x less than 2.
The last one, is it with the center at 0 or 1?
Send that one. You can also tell from radius interval convergence, the radius is at the center is at 1. Now there are a lot of other functions, for example, arctan, arcsine, and the binomial series. Those are also unmet, but you don't need to worry about it. Just worry about all the standard one. So the priority is probably those 3. This one can also change to 1 over 1 plus x. So that means that's going to change to 1 minus x plus x squared minus x cubed plus x to the 4th, dot, 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 to negative 1 to the n of x to the n. So you can change that plus x. Remember, you can change the x to any way you want. So we're going to talk about one situation that you can change. So for example, if I said, can you find a power series of f of x equal to cosine of square root of x? But you already know cosine of x, right? And yes, just plug in. So you are just going to be, you replace the whatever x with by square root of x. So that is going to be reworded as cosine of square root of x is equal to, that 1 doesn't change, right? Minus square root of x squared, that's going to be x over 2 factorial. Plus x squared over 4 factorial. Minus x to the 4th, x to the 3rd, over 6 factorial. Plus x to the 4th over 8 factorial. And dot, 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 dot.
could you zoom in on that again?
So the power series of cosine square root of x, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this here, and we're gonna replace all the x with the square root of x. Am I going too fast?
No.
It's super easy. It's not something very difficult.
Wait, that's all you have to do?
That's all you had to do. So you can derive the power series from those basic lists. Those basic lists is very, very easy. Am I going too fast?
No.
It's okay, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so those are the things that you should pay attention to. Can something else change? Hold on, let me see. I want to give which way example.
Wait, how did you already do it?
Yeah, I already did it. I just go into here, right? And replace the x squared, x4, x to the 6, x to the 2n. I can replace that all with square root of x.
Wait,
And that
now
becomes,
it's x 2, 3. So now it's just going up by 1 instead of 2.
yeah.
It's basically undoing the 2x.
Would it be x?
What?
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, so those are the basic things. Now we're also going to talk about one other things is what if the center is not at 0? But give me a second. Let me see where that example is.
Last three of this series, the center is at 1 or
Center at 1, and yeah.
the last three, ln of x 1 over x and 1 over 1.
No, this one is center at 0. -1. This is -1 less than x less than 1. But the one that you will be using more often are those basic lists. There's arc10 and arcsine. I won't worry about that. And 1 plus x to the k. I won't worry about that as well. So is that okay? I want to do one other one here. I cannot find it. No, I cannot find it. Oh well. So that's that for Taylor series. Now, sometimes you can get something weird, then you have to work from the beginning. So let's just say, how do I find a power series of f of x equal to sine square of x? Now, this is not sine x squared. This one's a sine square of x. Is it possible for me to find that? Yes.
Could you just split it into sine x times sine x and no? That work?
Well, it doesn't work with power series like that. What I would do is this. I will go back and I will think about what is sine square of x equal to in terms of first degree functions.
1 minus cosine 2x over 2.
1 minus what?
1 minus cosine 2x over 2.
Okay. F of x equal to 1 minus cosine 2x over 2. This is called power reducing formula.
Oh no.
Coming back, yes. That's why I say for Calc 2, you need power reducing. So we're going to start with this part. Can I start with that part? So which part do I start? What do we know on the basis of it? We know cosine of x. Does that make sense? Cosine of x is equal to 1 minus x squared over 2 factorial plus x to the 4 over 4 factorial minus x to the 6 over 6 factorial plus x to the 8 over 8 factorial. Questions from here?
We'll have to memorize it.
Can we just
This one, yes. The basic one, sine, cosine, e to the x. Yes, that's something that you need to know. What happens if I have cosine of 2x? So instead of the x, can I replace with 2x? So can you try it? So here it's going to be 1 minus 2x. That means 2 squared, right? X squared over 2 factorial. Am I doing okay? What's the next term?
2 to the 4.
2 to the 4, x to the 4 over 4 factorial minus 2 to the 6 over x6, 6 factorial plus 2 to the 8, x to the 8 over 8 factorial. Does that make sense? Now, can I rewrite this to 1/2 minus cosine of 2x over 2? So what do I do next?
Multiply by negative 1 over 2.
Multiply by negative 1 over 2. So I'm going to multiply that with 1 over 2. So it'll be cosine 2x. What is that going to be? It's going to be negative half for the first term, right? How about the second term? Positive. 2 and 2 cancel out. Are you following me?
Yeah.
So it'll be 2x squared over 2 factorial minus 2 to the third. This one's going to subtract by 1, right? All the time. And x to the fourth over what? 4 factorial? 2 to the third over 4 factorial, yeah. Plus 2 to the fifth, x to the 6 over 6 factorial. Did I have my sign correct?
Yeah.
Negative, positive, negative, positive. Okay, let's do one more. Minus 2 to the 7 over 8 factorial, x to the 8th.
Why is the 2 1 degree less than?
It's because the 1 over 2 on the bottom. That's the 1 over 2.
What do I need to make it the equation like top? What do I missing here? So can I add 1 more 2 in the front?
Yeah.
Minus 1 over 2 cosine of 2x. So that 1 over 2, gonna subtract that negative 1 over 2. Is that right?
Yeah.
So that's 0, right? So that's gonna be plus 2x2 over 2 factorial plus 2 to the third over 4 factorial over x to the fourth. Actually, this is minus, my bad. Plus, it's pretty much the same. It just without the first term.
Why would it not change anything?
Because you only add a 1/2 in the front, the 1/2 and negative 1/2 cancel out.
Oh, okay. So it's basically like you're adding the half term in the front, but then since it's half.
So that you can change this. You can say, oh, okay, that's easy. That's going to be sine square of x is equal to whatever this is. Because this are equal to each other, right? And series convergence is going to be negative infinity to infinity. So basically, yes, you can represent power series with a lot of different things. So a lot of sine of x, a lot of e to the x, a lot of cosine of x. Long as you can do that, it's fine. Is that okay? Yes? Okay. Sometimes you might have to deal with power series. So I'm going to give you a situation. Let's see how do you convert a power series. So one of the example that's very interesting is this one here. So I'm going to talk about that one in a second. So how do I represent this?
Is that 4?
That's a 4 over x. 4 over x plus 2. So I have f of x. How do I represent this in terms of power series?
Would you try
1
to-
over x,
Wait, what
and
is-
then
What's in the numerator?
What kind of this look like? This look like what? What is it? No.
you can do 1 over x. 1
No. What'd you say?
Yeah.
Very much like it. So what kind of series was that? Geometric. Okay. So geometric, can I rewrite this as a 4 over 2 plus x? Does that make sense? Now geometric, what happened? This is which number? That's the 1. So how do I become 1? Divided by 2, top and bottom. So can I divide by this by 2? So that's equal to 2 over 1 plus x over 2, right?
Yeah.
And remember that this one is supposed to be what? Negative. So what do you think my common ratio is? R equal to negative x over 2. Yes. So it should be like 2 over 1 plus negative x over 2. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
So the common ratio is negative x over 2.
It would be 1 minus negative.
Negative x over 2.
Well, yeah, but you have 1 plus, but.
How is it gonna work? How can you just change the sign randomly?
Because you want to make it to a over 1 minus r. So you want to make this negative. Oh, so this one's negative, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what we're
Sorry, negative. Are we okay so far?
Yep.
Okay, so then you can represent this of 4 over x plus 2 is equal to, well, what's my first term? My first term is 2, so it has to be 2, right?
Yeah.
And what's my common ratio? Negative x over 2, right? To the n. So this can be represented by this by using geometric way to convert it to like this.
Mhm.
So those are some of the things that you need to be able to manipulate. If you're able to manipulate, you're gonna be much better when you deal with different kind of problem. I think the other one's on the other different textbook. But yeah, that one we kind of already did it with natural log, so I'm not worried about that. So yeah, so this is a power. There's a power series, and there's Taylor series, and Maclaurin series. What's the difference between Maclaurin and Taylor? Center at 0, and where Taylor is center at something else. So they can give you center at something else, like center at, let's just say if it's center at like pi over 6, you can just do everything in pi over 6, and then just x minus pi over 6 on everything else. And pretty much everything else is the same way that you have operated. But yeah, that's that. We're going to talk about one more thing, and we finish chapter 10 next week. And I have no idea what the hell is next week's schedule.
It's trash.
Huh?
Each
It's
credit.
messed up.
Black and white still on?
So stupid.
Everything got canceled.
What?
No, I'm kidding.
Without the Academy.
Wow, that was good.
That
That was really good. Yeah, that was like a.
Thank you.
You sound like you're about to cry, and you're like,
I always sound like my mom.
Why did SBA need to? You didn't
They're
even-
probably doing a video in
You're not even
SBA
here.
or something.
No, but
"What time we get off here?"
Oh, six.
Like
Oh,
100.
6. Okay, educate me about Ukraine.
What? Oh,
What?
Ukraine.
About what?
No, just like why is the government killing its own people?
It's not the government.
But you say you're anti-government.
A long time ago, like when I was still there, when the whole privatization happened, there was a group of like opposition that formed that basically they're like very radical people. And so now they're apparently part of army. I don't know how that happened. But like they would stop cars, just beat up cars with metal, like people who don't care about rules. Like they're basically neo-Nazis.
Okay.
And now they're there. And so throughout the war, even like in 2018 when that stuff happened, like they were the ones killing their own people because they don't care who to kill. They're neo-Nazis. Like it doesn't matter.
But do you think if a Russian invade, would that situation go away or no?
I think they expelled everything.
Are they against Russia or they against Ukraine? Those people that's killing
They're-
people.
They don't care. They're against everyone. I don't know why, because we were literally, like, we were coming back from Vietnam and we had to cross the border from Crimea and to go to Ukraine because our flight landed in Crimea and they were at the border. So they had to stop our car and search it and stuff like that. And my parents had to call like orders and police and stuff like that. And we saw them beat up cars with metal. So I saw it with my eyes. So I have nothing good to say about that.
That's so confusing. Those.
Money making, all of it. Forever.
So it's a crazy for me to think like if Russia invade Ukraine, it's not gonna stop there. It will keep on going.
What do you mean?
What do you mean by that?
Are they gonna keep on going to like maybe other countries like
Oh, Russia?
Russia?
They want the USSR back.
They want USSR. Is Poland belong to them?
You
Poland's in NATO.
Was Poland part of the USSR?
Yeah.
So they're gonna argue that.
How about Belarus?
Yeah.
Belarus.
Basically that entire reason.
Yeah, they're,
But I don't think they
Why
want
all the-
USSR. I think they're preventing, like, because if Ukraine is in the NATO, then America has a say over like U.S. can manipulate Ukraine in a way by funding it and stuff like that because the U.S. is a big part of NATO. And I think Russia is preventing Ukraine from becoming a strategic object.
Yeah, no, a lot
Because
of people
that's what happened with the Crimea.
Europe are in NATO now.
But
Now, the funny thing is I'm from Taiwan, right? And they are saying a lot of things is like once they taken over Ukraine, like China is gonna take Taiwan back because America cannot handle both fronts.
China's gonna probably do that anyway. They're just doing like the whole "we're doing the Olympics" thing to like get the attention away from that matter.
Yeah, I think a lot of people say they're gonna take Taiwan back, which is kind of funny because my wife's from China and I'm from Taiwan. And then when we talk about like I say I'm Taiwanese and they will say no, you're not Taiwanese, you're Chinese.
would you consider Taiwan an independent nation?
Yeah, I do think it's independent. They have their own Congress and their own everything. So, but is Taiwanese government great? No. Maybe same situation as Ukraine or whatever, but it's actually Chinese are better. Chinese are better run. Like I say, Chinese are the only place in the world need a communist. Like they cannot. Yeah, because the
Russian people.
like the Chinese people, if they run with democracy, it's gonna be like Taiwan. And if you look at Taiwan Congress, if you type in YouTube, Taiwan Congress, it's the worst. They brawl every day. They like physically beat up each other. They don't even talk to each other. They just beat up each other. If you look at Taiwan Congress, that's the things that democracy happen. So Chinese doesn't belong to democracy, honestly. Chinese belong to calmness because they just want to have one party says all, and then that's it. That's a decision that they make.
There's
But
just too many opinions and no one.
it's too many. Yeah, too many opinions.
And people just like stand for
You,
their.
you looking at it?
Huh?
They're doing one.
Yeah, literally,
One fight in its half.
literally. That's their Congress. That's what Chinese
I
people.
thought you were bullshitting us. No, this is real.
I'm not. Like a Chinese people cannot run by themselves.
The strongest representative gets the rest.
It's like the worst people in the world. They were like sacrificing like chicken in front of Congress. And like yeah, so Chinese doesn't belong to democracy. I think America can become democracy, like democratic system, but Chinese cannot. I don't know about Russia, but I know Chinese can.
People find loopholes to go around the government too much, so yeah, they wait.
Yeah, but so same as American, Americans
It's
still
worse
find.
than that. It's worse. And the people are too smart. That's the problem. If the society was dumbed down a little bit, then maybe the democracy would exist there, but because people are too smart, it will be impossible.
The world will hold Russia to balance out.
That's interesting.
We'll go on our schools. Here it's more about boss, like, if you're boss, yeah,
Later.
if you work for
Bye.
you work
Bye.
on it.
Sorry, I asked those questions. I just want to be educated.
It's fine. I prefer not to comment on the government because like I'm not against.
Do you still have family over there?
I do have family.
Are they are getting Are they getting-
I haven't talked to my family in 7 years because they did a bunch of bad stuff.
wait, what?
Yeah, I don't talk to my family either than my parents.
Your family is bad?
Well, my mom's side, they did a lot of damage to our family, so. But my dad's side is fine, but they live in Israel. So my dad's side is not even in Ukraine.
And how does your mom and dad doesn't get mad at each other?
What? Oh, because
Yeah, if
Because
you
my
say
dad-
your mom's side is doing a lot of damage for your dad's side, but they marry each other, does that hurts?
no, like my mom's parents did a lot of damage to her.
Or to her?
Yeah. Also, it's funny because my mom's roots are Iranian and my dad's Israeli, and Iran and Israel are not friends, and they're married.
Do they have same religion?
Huh?
Do they have same religion?
Yeah, we're Christian. We're not.
Iranian has a Christian?
No.
Iranian,
my
I thought.
my mom has Iranian roots. Like she's not Muslim.
Oh,
Yeah, we're Orthodox, so we're like Eastern European Christian, but it's just my dad's heritage. Like his grandma is from Israel, and my mom's grandparents are from.
oh, wow.
Complicated. Like,
Wow.
families